What is up, my basic birches? Today, I'm turning a handle for a parting tool, because apparently tools need handles. Who knew? So, pull up a chair. I've got some wood to show you. I'm starting out with a piece of ash. Just look at that ash. That's a nice piece of ash. I'm ripping it down into strips that I'll use with some walnut to create the handle. Here I've got some walnut the same thickness as the parting tool, and I'm marking how far I want it to sit inside the handle. Then I use a table saw to cut out a slot the same width as the parting tool. It's got a tiny little gap, but I think it'll be fine. Now I glue everything up. I'm alternating the strips of ash and walnut, up until a little visitor comes along and decides to dive bomb into the glue. I'm just gonna casually push him out of the way. Clamp it all up and wait for the glue to dry. This step isn't really that necessary, but I'm trimming the edges and squaring it up before I throw it on the lathe. And to the lathe we go, which is really just a fancy pencil sharpener. First roughing it out, then cutting the tenon for the ferrule, making sure it's the right size. The ferrule I'm using is a threaded brass bushing from Home Depot. I'll leave a link in the description. I'm using another handle as a template for this shape. I'm going for ergonomic and stylish. Doing a little shaping with the roughing gouge, and then switching over to a skew chisel. I use a carbide scraper for the ferrule. Fun fact, if you don't know what a ferrule does, it keeps the wood from splitting. It's basically the handle's wedding band saying, I promise not to split. Back to the skew chisel for the final shaping. Once I'm happy with it, I start sanding and make sure to sand with the grain when the lathe is turned off. I'm using super glue to seat the tool in the handle, but you could also use epoxy. I'm not because I'm too lazy to mix it. Then you just tap it in. Finishing it off with walnut oil, and it looks pretty good if I say so myself, and I do say so myself. So there it is, a new tool handle. Almost makes it seem like I know what I'm doing. I made this because I needed a thin parting tool so I could try making a bowl from a board, so you may see that in a future video. Testing it out to see if it works. And what do you know, it does. Thanks for watching. Always remember, don't be basic.